Hello sports fans, welcome to this week's sporting recap, and what a weekend it was. Truly so much going on, at times it was a little hard to keep up. We had Women's State of Origin on Thursday night, we had Magic Round going on in Brisbane all weekend long, we had the Miami Grand Prix, and then of course we had the Pineapple Grapple, as I heard it referred to as, the Brisbane versus Suns in the AFL. So, let's get into it. Now, starting off with our own Queensland Premiers, reigning champions of the AFL, we have the Brisbane Lions taking on the Gold Coast Suns. What a game it was. You wouldn't say it was anyone's game. It was pretty obvious that the Lions had it going, that whole big brother, little brother situation. The Suns definitely did stick it to the Lions for a bit, but I think overall the Lions just had that edge on it. My main takeaway from this game is that I actually don't know the difference between Carrara and the Gabba. I probably joined in watching late into the first quarter, and I was like, oh, I wonder where we're playing tonight. And it took a solid, I want to say, half an hour to figure it out, because they weren't showing any wide shots. And honestly, sometimes those two stadiums look the same to me. The only thing I know is that Carrara has those little waves, and obviously the Gabba has the buildings. My second takeaway, there were lots of kids, lots of guys out in their first season, lots of kids out on debut. My moment of the match was when number one on the Suns, Mac Andrew, on the Gold Coast Suns, gave one a absolute pummeling, a real welcome to the sport. As I'm watching AFL sometimes, I do realise it does look awfully a lot like blood sport. My next thing is I need every single team to have like a playlist of songs that get played when they score goals. I love it when we get to see a Brisbane goal and get to have a little sing-along. I think it should be across the board, everyone gets a song. Fuck it, play it for the behinds as well. That would be great. There was another moment where a guy was fully sitting on the floor trying to get the ball. That was fantastic. I loved that. And it did feel a little bit like the Suns were putting butter all over their fingers. They were a bit loosey-goosey with that one. But yeah, my favourite thing to come out of that game is, of course, the Pineapple Grapple. Okay, moving on to my second favourite code of football. We have the NRL. Now, big weekend for the NRL, of course. We had the opening round of the Women's State of Origin. I actually went to the game. It was an interesting time, of course. Went in there hoping for a Maroons win. Came out, I'm kicking and screaming at the reality that our side probably just doesn't stack up to those girls. Some of those New South Wales girls are just absolute weapons. Like, they just fucking fly at you. Nonetheless, still a delightful game to watch. I loved the little New South Wales support group. They all had matching shirts and matching wigs. They were truly the life of the game. They kept trying to get Mexican waves going throughout, and it'd get possibly like 3 sections and then die. Overall, it was a very pleasant game to be at. It didn't feel like there was that much difference between a women's game and a men's game. So many young girls who were just absolutely loving it. I will make a small comment. There was a really rude guy sitting in front of us that also smelt really, really bad. Just his stench would just waft throughout our general area. And yeah, just made a few unneeded comments about like blondes being dumb and you need to go do the dishes. It's like, if you're going to say things like that, stay at home. We just don't need you coming to these games if you're going to be a negative fucking Nancy. No one wants you there. Overall though, it was a great vibe. I really enjoyed it, and I'd like to see more of it. Moving on to Magic Round. I did not attend any of the games. Tickets were really hard to come by. Lots of going on there. It was great seeing people walking around in other jerseys. It was nice to see, the other fans wandering around Milton. Moving on to the games, I didn't pay too much attention. I knew it was on, as I said, second favourite code of football. I am starting to feel a little bit guilty though of getting a tattoo of a panther. This is it's of Bagheera from the Jungle Book, so it's not at all anything to do with the Panthers, but after seeing the result of their game against the Broncos, I think safe to say I'll be wearing long sleeves for a little bit. That was slightly embarrassing. Positive from that game though, Jordan Riki has returned from a staph infection. A staph infection? A staph infection. Yeah, that was some fun news to read about. Poor guy. got a staph infection. I made the mistake of then Googling what a staph infection was. Jordan, I don't know what you did to get yourself into that situation, but please don't do that again. But my absolute favourite thing that came out of Magic Round is, of course, the mascot race. That was beautiful. That was a beautiful use of the NRL's money. I would like to see one again at every game. Pre-show entertainment. Get the mascots out, get them fighting. Sad to see that the Chicken Crimpy one, of course, lost miserably. But, you know, aerodynamicism, it's a little hard when you're a square. And last but not least, we have the Miami Grand Prix. Now, not to spoil it for you, but I am very glad that I have invested in this jumper. I feel it has brought me a lot of joy, and I'm going to take the win for them. I bought this jacket, and everything started going better for McLaren. That's such a fucking lie. But anyway, I'm taking their win for me. Wearing a jumper like a winner. Highlights from Miami. Of course, we have Max being a dad. Whoa, missed out on media day. Possibly the best thing for Max ever. So shout out to baby Lily for doing that. That was great. Absolutely electric sprint qualifying. I had just finished work, so I got to actually watch the last part of quali, Q3. When I tell you the shock that ran through my body when they said Kimi P1. What? I also have invested in a Kimi and a George and an Oscar Sunny Angel sticker. So again, I think I'm just predicting all the winners. Of course, not the greatest result then from Kimi in the actual race. Still, youngest pole sitter ever in the history of the sport by a mile. Very, very awesome, absolutely electric sprint quali. Couldn't have asked for a better result in that. And then, of course, coming into the actual race, McLaren 1-2, Lando, then Oscar. Great for my Formula One fantasy. I have not Oscar. I have Lando at the moment, so that's delightful. It was a bit wet, hey, just a little. Certainly sent a few of us for a loop. I'm continuing on with sprint commentary. I think Red Bull needs to seriously consider investing in a lollipop lady. Specifically, a lollipop lady who works in a school in inner city Brisbane with those windy ass roads. There's one in particular that I'm thinking of. It's like this windy road, and then you come up a hill and boom, they put the pedestrian crossing right there. This lollipop lady, she is ruthless. She is ruthless, and you do not fuck with her. I think they need her at the end of the pit stops, because there's no way she would have let that crash happen. She has to specifically have worked at this one specific school, because she would have never let that happen. Lando and his magic safety car coming in clutch again. Fortunately, didn't have an actual safety car in the race. That felt a bit rude. Could have given Lando a safety car, but he did use his luck up in the sprint. Watching the actual race this morning, I was so happy. I was so happy the whole entire time. I'm always rooting for an Oscar win. I love singing the national anthem way too early in the morning. I love just him getting out there and absolutely just running away. It brings me so much joy. And I wonder if this is how Max fans felt in 2023, or were they getting bored? Because right now I'm still sitting here and I'm like, well, it's still anyone's race. Is it going to be 2023 all over again? Because I would love that. That would be awesome for me, because I love Oscar and I love him winning all the fucking time. It's great. So bit of a kerfuffle. What do you say? Argy-bargy? Yeah, argy-bargy in the early turns. It was great to watch. Unfortunate for Lando though. But I feel like we got to see some good racing from Lando, which I like to see, because some people believe he can't race. I'm not one of them. And he really put on a show today. Oscar getting up there. Amazing overtake on Max. I loved it. I was texting Grace at the time and I was like, I don't want to see a pit stop, undercut situation. I want to see him actually overtake him. And then he did. And it was fantastic and beautiful, and I loved every second of it. 10 out of 10, $1 million to you, Oscar Piastri. I just love seeing him fuck off down the road. A 32-second gap between those McLarens and George was just chef's fucking kiss. It was great. And it did stress me out a little bit. Oscar hopped off down the road, fucked off, basically could have gone home, came back and still been the leader of the race. But Lando started catching up to him. And that goes to show both of them have the ability, and I think it's going to be so fun watching them. Papaya rules it up and see who wins. I love it. Controversial opinion, I love papaya rules. I think it's great. I want everyone to papaya rules. Ferrari could have done with papaya rulesing, because that was my next point. Poor Lewis Hamilton. Sir Lewis Hamilton. And poor Charles Leclerc as well. They were going through it. Does Ferrari know what they're doing? Because that was stressful to watch. Like, they were so close. One of them was getting fucked. The other one was trying to catch Kimi, and they couldn't put it together. Tea time from Sir Lewis Hamilton. Have a tea break. Iconic, I love it. It's very obvious that Lewis's move to Ferrari is not as negative as people want to make it out, because he does really well in the sprint when he doesn't have to deal with Ferrari's tyre strategy. He gets out there, he fucking pounds at home, does amazing, and is up pretty high. Won in China and came third in Miami. But as soon as it gets to the actual race, it's like their strategy is just fucking him in the ass a little bit. And it is obviously a difficult situation. You've got Jesus Christ himself, Charles Leclerc, up against 7-time world champion Lewis Hamilton. So it's like, how do you pick? They need papaya rules, I guess. Of course, all the rookies fucked off after about, I want to say lap 10, maybe. Probably a bit later than that, but it felt certainly like we had one rookie remaining. And no, we had 2 rookies, obviously, Kimi and Fernando. Final notes from Miami. Best thing to come out of the weekend is Oscar doing that damn gritty. What the fuck was that? I loved it. As someone who can't gritty, I see you. Overall, vibes at Miami, top notch. Races at Miami, more to be asked for, to be completely honest. Okay, that's all from me at the Sports Report. Thank you so much for tuning in. I will see you sports fans next time.